cannot be with us tonight, so y'all are stuck with us. I'd like to call to order the regular meeting of the City of Aransas Pass City Council, June 21st, 2020 at 6 p.m. If we would all rise for the invocation and Pledge of Allegiance.
Dear Father, thank you for the blessings that you have bestowed upon us. We thank you, my Father, that besides everything else that's going on, my Father, you have been there for us the whole way. You've been supplying our needs and keeping us safe, and we thank you, my Father, for your provisions upon us. I pray, Lord, that you give us, the City Council, your guidance and to make the right decisions for the City of Aransas Pass, our residents. I pray, Lord, that you be with our city manager, guide him, my Father, the department heads, and we pray for our police force, the fire department. Keep them safe, my Father. This we ask in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mayor Pro Tem, before we begin the meeting, there's a few items that are being pulled from the agenda that will not be considered or discussed at the meeting. And for the record, those items are the demolition update, which is item 3.3. That one's being removed. And item 6.4, which is a public hearing on a zoning request by Hogan Building Company number 1, as well as the executive session item 15.4, which is the Association Against Annexation Abuse versus the City of Aransas Pass. Those items are being pulled from the agenda.
Thank you, Mary.
Okay, that will lead us to presentations and proclamations and the introduction of new employees by our Police Chief Eric Lyncher.
Yes, thank you, Council, and we're getting back into the normal traditions here. So I have one to introduce you tonight. The other was out sick. Not Chief Kelly, but Amy Ferrix. She's right there. She comes to us with dispatching experience, police experience. She is a police officer and dispatcher, and she is our dispatcher supervisor in training to be the supervisor. So up and coming, but that's Amy. Amy, they usually expect you to give about a 5 to 10 minute lecture about yourself and history. No, I'm just kidding. There you go, Mayor.
Welcome, Amy.
Welcome.
Yeah. All right, is that it? Okay. Yeah, I was looking back there thinking those guys are not new.
All of them, yeah.
They just want to be reintroduced.
All righty. Okay, item 3.2, presentation concerning potential wastewater partnership with the City of Ingleside by the Bay. Gary?
Yes. The reason this is on here is to let you know that staff is working with the City of Ingleside by the Bay. We are in the discussion stage to see if there can be a partnership dealing with wastewater. And ultimately the goal is to have wastewater from Ingleside by the Bay come to our plant. Similar to what we were talking about a couple of years ago when we wanted to regionalize the water system, and it didn't work out. Of course, that was water. It was several reasons for that. This is a discussion between Ingleside by the Bay and the city to see if it can be done. Capacity-wise, it is something that certainly is doable, except during heavy rains. Then it becomes a problem for us. And that's something we are talking about. We're honored to have the Mayor of Ingleside by the Bay with us tonight. And Mayor, if you don't mind coming forward and can answer any questions that you might have. But essentially, that's what we're talking about. Would you mind going into more detail, Mayor?
Okay. My name is Joanne Amon. I'm Mayor of Ingleside on the Bay, and I appreciate you letting me come and speak. And I've had a couple of discussions with Gary and Fernando about the possibility of us passing our wastewater on to Aransas Pass. We are currently in a contract with Ingleside. That contract is going to end in 2026. So we have to explore the other options that we have. And one of the options is to perhaps tie in with your system and provide our wastewater to you rather than the city of Ingleside. We have a couple of other options that we're exploring, but I'm excited that, you know, Gary would at least talk to us and see if we can't work something out. The cost that would come with tying into your system would be on us. We don't expect you to pay for that. What we're interested in is whether or not you feel like it's a feasible opportunity, and then the cost of what the processing is going to be. Those are a couple of things that we need to kind of look at up front and see whether it's even feasible or not. So we've given some numbers, preliminary numbers, to Gary and Fernando, and I think that I got the sense that you feel that it's possible. There are some problems when we have a lot of rain. We have the same problems with inundation within our system due to flooding and other things. So there are a few things that need to be worked out as we go along. But and 5 years sounds like a long time, but it's not very long when you have to consider the things that we have to consider. So I'm here asking if the council feels that it might be feasible. If it is, then we'll proceed. If it's not feasible from the council, then we'll do something different.
Yes, right now, all we're asking is to make you aware of this, and if you're okay, the discussions would continue then. And they've been good discussions to this point.
As far as the capacity, how much would it increase the capacity, and how much will it affect future development down the road?
The capacity is something we can absorb pretty easily, except during heavy rain. Then
Okay.
that's an issue that has to, and as the mayor indicated a few seconds ago, that is an issue that will have to be addressed. It is not addressed at this point.
Okay.
That's what I was going to, okay.
We're just kind of in preliminary discussions to see if it's even reasonable to pursue it at this point. And my council is aware that I've been discussing with Gary. We wanted to make sure that you all were aware so that you know, you don't hear it second, third, or fourth hand, and it gets totally distorted as to what's going on.
That's true.
As we all know, that can happen.
Every time.
So yeah, if you have any other questions that I might be able to answer, I'll try to answer them.
Well, I think as we go along in discussions, we'll have a lot more questions, but
Absolutely.
it's so preliminary right now.
Absolutely.
Something good to continue pursuing.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, that leads us to item number 4, board and commission appointments. The zoning board of adjustments.
There's a vacancy in the alternate membership. Actually, there's 2 vacancies, but we have one board application that we received, and that's from Vincent Kluss. He's interested in serving as an alternate member.
Is Vincent here tonight?
Oh, that's you.
Right there.
Okay. Well, now we got a name for the face.
Exactly.
All right.
Well,
So how long have you lived in Aransas, Pass?
3 years.
3? Okay. All right. Well, we always welcome you. I'm glad you made Monday night your like your favorite place to come on Monday night.
Oh, yeah. Coffee's great.
Right. Right.
Well, I make a motion that we appoint Vincent Claus as the alternate.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, that leads us to the consent agenda. All of the following items on the consent agenda are considered to be routine by the City Council and will be enacted with one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a council member so requests. If discussion is desired, that item will be removed from the consent agenda and will be considered separately.
Well, I make a motion that we approve the minutes, the regular minutes of the meeting on May the 17th, 2021.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? No? All right. Going once, going twice. Public hearings. Case number 2106-03. Public hearing on request by Greg Ferrar for a conditional use permit to allow a recreational vehicle to be placed onto Lot 1 of Block 213 and to be used as a temporary dwelling for security purposes during construction of a single-family dwelling.
Yes, this application, especially this site, has come before you several times. At this point in time, the applicant is requesting to put an RV and live in it whilst under construction. It's mainly for security purposes because of theft. So the applicant is here if you have any questions for them.
You want to declare the public hearing open?
Oh, yes, I declare the public hearing open. Any questions, comments,
What is the
concerns?
time frame? I can't open this.
Yeah, I can't
Oh.
either.
6 months?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
Asking for permission to put the RV on.
yeah.
When we start putting materials on the lot, we haven't at this point, but we'd like the permission. Maybe, I'm sorry, I'm Noreen Ferrar, 1304 North McCampbell. Maybe the middle of September, the end of September, once we get materials start coming on the lot and we start building, that we can move an RV onto the lot. We've already got the permit in place. We've got the foundation already in. We've put in new septic from Aransas County. City services are there, water's there, trash is there. Did I miss? The electric pole's in. So,
Do y'all have a conditional use permit already?
we have one for a storage
Yeah,
unit. for
Connex
a,
box.
Okay,
Connex,
okay.
yeah.
I thought y'all had something already, okay. So you're not wanting this RV until you get materials, which
Not
is
until we
sometime
put-
around
Once
September?
we start buying materials and we get
Okay.
them on the lot, and then, yeah, maybe about 3 months after we put materials on, we should be done with it.
Hope the price of lumber goes down for you
Uh,
between now and then.
That's
It
why
just
we're
went
giving,
down
that's why we're giving
yesterday,
it
today.
about
I
8 to
know.
10 weeks to buy the
Yeah.
package there. but
Correct.
We wanted to get ahead of the game in case we run into some deals or something, so that we can, but we wanted to get the approval, let you know everything's in place already, we're progressing. We have services there.
I'm just gonna point out to you that if you get your conditional use permit effective
Now,
now, you're wasting 3 months.
yeah,
Because it's a 6-month conditional use. So you could say effective, come back and
September.
maybe tell, say, okay, my materials are coming in, I need that conditional use permit.
We would like to
effective.
do that, the
Yeah.
other
Is it-
commission.
Is that good, Osei? I mean, she'd be wasting 3 months of her
Yeah.
conditional use permit without,
Correct.
right.
Right.
for no reason.
The P&Z made mention that they want them to provide that lumber to the site before they
Okay.
come in. However,
good.
that 6 months period stays. So, correct, they will be losing depending on the time they come in.
3 months.
It will not change, yeah. So the 6 months time due, they will have to come back again, unless, of course, you want to change it.
Because you're saying about September, correct? Is what you're saying, that you're
Yeah.
expecting
That's what our projections are, yes.
to start receiving your
Yes.
material and things there for building? So, you know, maybe September
The
1st
the
or
goal
something.
is if you're living in your home January 1st, you can do the homestead. So that's the goal, to get us into the home by January 1.
Yeah, I would suggest you just come back later in August, when you know that.
Materials arriving.
Okay, and just put this on hold until we're ready?
Yeah, I mean.
Okay.
Well, there's, yeah, there's no
3 months
reason
is
to have it
conditional,
now if
yeah.
you're not,
Okay.
Table.
Yeah, we can table it.
just table
If you
it.
can table
Okay,
it to
that sounds
August.
Okay.
Alrighty, thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Then we will table,
You have to-
what, agenda item
Yes.
till further,
Yeah, case number 2106-03, table.
okay.
Jose, do you want to table it to a specific date, or?
It would be better for them to inform us.
Okay.
So then I
Because-
should just
right.
contact you and we'll put
correct. As soon as it gets ready, let me know, and then we'll do that.
Okay, well, I consider this public hearing closed. So do we have to consider an act?
On the next item, it'll be to table.
Okay, so read the consider an act and ordinance granting a conditional use permit request by Greg Ferrar to allow a recreational vehicle to be placed onto Lot 1 of Block 213 and to be used as a temporary dwelling for security purposes during construction of a single-family dwelling. To be tabled.
So, we need a
I make a motion that we table the request.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Now we will go to case number 2106-04, public hearing on the request initiated by the City of Aransas Pass to name an unnamed road as Bill Haynes Way at Lighthouse Lakes Trail along the Redfish Bay Causeway 361, being approximately 2,725 feet stretch of road parallel to the causeway in Aransas Pass, Texas, and Nueces County. And I declare this public hearing open.
Yes, so this is a request by police department. This case came before you some time back for Bill Haynes Way. The first one was at the harbor. It did not go through, so a new location was suggested, and that is at the Lighthouse Lakes Trail. And so this is the one before you as at this time for consideration. And P&Z recommended approval.
Very good. Anybody in the public have any questions or comments? Council?
I think it's a good thing. When we first moved here, he was very cordial to us. We saw him in the community. I did not know this was on the topic of the agenda, but I support it as a good.
Good.
Your name and address?
Raul Saldivar, 190 East Johnson Avenue, Aransas, Texas.
Anybody else? Okay, I declare this public, yeah. Okay, I declare the public hearing closed. Now let's consider and act an ordinance by the City of Aransas Pass to name an unnamed road as Bill Haynes Way at Lighthouse Lakes Trails along the Redfish Bay Causeway 361, being approximately 2,725 stretch of road parallel to Causeway in Aransas Pass, Texas, and Nueces County. What's the favor of the council?
Well, I make a motion that we, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
That we name an unnamed road as Bill Haynes Way at Lighthouse Lakes Trails along the Redfish Bay Causeway, 361.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Well deserved.
Well
Yes.
deserved, yes.
Absolutely. All right, now we will go to case number 2106-05, public hearing on request by Richard Titus and Celia Barnes for a conditional use permit to allow a recreational vehicle to be placed onto lots 26 and 27, block 443, and to be used as a temporary dwelling for security purposes during construction of a single-family dwelling.
Yes, this is a similar case for construction, and want to use the RV as a residential use whilst under construction for that site at 624 South Arrive. The applicant is here, so if you have any questions for him.
All right.
you can answer.
I would like to declare the public hearing open,
Mhm.
and then, okay, Mr. Titus?
Yes, ma'am. How are y'all doing? Please excuse my appearance. I just got off work.
There you go. And what was the address for this?
624 South Rife Street.
Okay. So, when are you planning on starting construction?
I've already got like $30,000 worth of material on the property.
Oh.
I've got my utilities located already. I'm just waiting. If this permit gets passed, I'll get my permit for my temporary electric, move my trailer over after I cut this dead tree down from Hurricane Harvey that's, only like,
So
like
big.
this. And then I'll be starting on the ASAP.
Okay.
And this is again for 6 months? conditional
months.
use permit?
8 months when we were here last Monday, and if I need to go longer, they told me to come back and request a little extended time or whatever.
8 months. Ooh. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer for the building of the homes, correct?
Ma'am?
It will take a little bit longer at times for, you're just making sure
Yes,
that
yes,
you've
ma'am.
got the time.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Anybody else have any questions or comments?
Do you have all your building permits?
No, I was waiting to find out where my utilities were located in case I had to flip my plans, which I do have to flip my plans, because how I have them drawn up, I had the sewer on one side and water on the other, but when they located them, they were vice versa. So now I've got to flip my plan before I submit them. And I've already talked to Mr. Burrell Smith, and we're all good to go. And I'm fixing to get I'm fixing to get all my permits and everything.
Burl, you've seen his plans?
I've seen it, he's gonna make a mirror.
Right, okay. Okay, I just want to make sure that we're right there. Okay.
Didn't see her. How you doing, sir?
Anybody else? Declare the public hearing closed. Now we will consider an act on ordinance granting a conditional use permit request by Richard Titus and Celia Barnes to allow a recreational vehicle to be placed onto lots 26 and 27 of Block 443 and to be used as a temporary dwelling for security purposes during construction of a single-family dwelling.
I move to grant a conditional use permit to Richard Titus and
Celia?
Celia Barnes to allow a recreational vehicle to be placed onto lots 26 and 27 of Block 443 and to be used as a temporary dwelling for security purposes during construction of a single-family dwelling.
For an 8-month period.
For 8 months period.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Thank you very much, council members.
Thank you.
The next one we did away with, so, city manager.
Mayor and council, this is, item coming up is one of several that are back-to-back and related to the tax resale property. The first one is dealing with, I'm looking for the name, I believe Mr. Mayfield is here, or by phone, he's going to be here by phone. Okay, if you have any questions of him. He was here before by phone, he wanted more time to increase to your requirement of above 30%, and that is above 30%, 30.43% as far as the appraised value goes. The next item, we'll get to that in a second, also is from Mr. Mayfield. But if you have any questions.
Okay, yes, we're in council meeting and they're discussing your item.
If you have any questions of Mr. Mayfield.
Okay, great.
If you have any questions of Mr. Mayfield, he's on the phone now. And normally the questions are maintenance and things of that sort, use. But he did increase it per your requirement from whatever that percentage was before to above the 30% requirement. Mary, can we get the, that, yeah. Mr. Mayfield, can you hear me, Mr. Mayfield?
Yes, I can distantly hear you, yes. So if I don't
Okay,
answer-
you should be better now. We just moved a couple microphones around. I don't know if you have anything to say at the outset, and along that same line, if the council has any questions for you. Do you want to talk about where the property is or usage of the property, anything of that sort?
Sure, I can just say that the whole goal of the property is to kind of unify it or to kind of coalesce it with some adjacent property that I own, so that I might have some acreage to work with, so that I might be able to develop it easier. The acreage in question is sort of landlocked, so you can't reach it by road, and so that's why it's kind of hard for me to answer, development and whatnot with it, because I have to explore utilities and, access to it, but it's kind of landlocked right now. It's not accessible by road. So my hope is that I can maybe get some other adjoining acreage that does have road access, and then potentially we could look at developing it from there. I can't say specifically what what I'm hoping to do with it. I mean, I'm looking at maybe home sites, things like this, but I kind of have to kind of get the acreage together first before I can look at it. I can say that I'm not looking to develop any kind of an RV park or anything along those lines.
Mr.
Mayfield.
I see that it says it's located off Avenue A. Can you give us a better description? Like, is it on the east or west side of Avenue A? And what would be a closest side street?
I can actually give me 1 second. I can pull up a map. I'm kind of on my laptop here, and I'm in Yosemite Valley, by the way, right now. So, and I will say that you guys had more flowers and chocolate at the last meeting that I was at than here. So I kind of wish I was there. So let me look here. So it would be, I guess technically it would be northeast of Avenue A. So it would be sort of towards the bay, and it's again it's landlocked. So the road, I guess it would be somewhere between Myrtle and Gile or Gile Avenue, and so it's kind of in there, and there's no roads that can kind of reach back in that area. So that's kind of where it is.
Okay.
Mr. Mayfield, if I remember correctly, the last time you were here, you said that you didn't have plans to develop that property, and that was one of the issues.
That's correct. I didn't exactly know what I was going to do with it, but I've been thinking about it. It's more of an investment kind of a concept, but I'm looking at what realistically you could do with it, and it just seems like if you could get road access and utilities, it seems like it could be good for some home development.
Did you say you had other?
Potentially like a single family home on 2.5 acres or something along those lines.
So you have no plans at this time to develop that property? And I think we had asked you to kind of bring forward some plans, because when we resale these properties at a below the regular rate of the property, we want the properties cleaned and developed. We don't want them sitting there as empty lots, since there are a lot of people in the city that would like to develop.
Sure, I just would need, the ability to get utilities and, electricity and water and road access. So right now the city doesn't even have roads that are back in there. So that's kind of at a loss of what I can, realistically do until I get some of the more basic questions answered, such as, roads and utilities.
I think you mentioned that you had some additional properties. Is it close to this location or throughout Aransas Pass?
Yes, it's in Aransas County. So this particular property is 1 acre, and I have the other 4 acres that are on the other side of it that are in Aransas County. I believe that is still in the city. Yes, it used to be a 5 acre. I'm just trying to unify it back to the original 5 acres that it used to be. I guess the previous people had gone delinquent and had foreclosures on the other acreage, which I was able to purchase from them, paying off the taxes that they owed. And so I'm trying to get this kind of put back into that original acreage so that I have some, I guess a place to start.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Any other questions? Consider an act on resolution approving tax sale property suit number S-02-1271-TX, 1.06 acres, more or less, out of Farm Lot 1, Land Block 211, Burton and Danforth Subdivision, San Patricio County, Texas, located on Avenue A. A bid offer was submitted by Nathaniel Mayfield in the amount of $5,000. Which is 30.43% of the current value. What is the favor of the council?
Well, I make a motion that we approve the sale of the property. That's sale property suit number S-02-1271-TX, 1.06 acres, more or less, out of Farm Lot 1, Land Block 211, Burton and Danforth Subdivision, San Patricio County, Texas.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
No.
May I make a comment? I think your motion, you need to clarify what the amount submitted was, the notes here say $450, and I
That's
think
the
I
other one.
heard something in the thousands of dollars.
That's the second piece of property, I believe.
Yes.
That's the second.
The comment was
Yeah,
for
that's the
the
second property.
02-1271.
Which is the first one, 7.1.
It's
So
for
you're already
5,000.
on to the second.
We're on the
We're
first-
going now to the second one.
We're on the first one.
we're on the
Yeah,
first
we're
one.
just on the first.
And that was
Yeah,
for
somebody heard
5,000.
that wrong.
It's for the amount of $5,000.
That's right.
Yes.
That's correct.
All right, so we had a motion. The motion passed. Okay.
And General voted no.
Item 7.2, consider an act on a resolution approving tax sale property suit number S-13-1038-TX, Lot 9, Block 236, Town of Aransas Pass, San Patricio County, Texas, located on 10th Street. A bid offer was submitted by Nathaniel Mayfield in the amount of $450, which is 30.61% of the current value.
And again, this is an issue that has been, I believe, brought up. I don't think it was above the 30% when it was before. Above that 30%, you're required 30%. Mr. Mayfield, I think you're still on the line. Would you like to comment on any potential plans for this particular piece of property and where it's located?
So I don't know so much about this piece of property. It's just one of those lots that's kind of, tucked away there. Again, it's in a similar position to where, it's just a lot that is not really reachable right now by road. And so this one is, again, similar kind of position. There's just a real, but this one's even, it's just a lot that's kind of tucked away back there. I would say this one is just more for investment purposes. If I could work with other people that maybe own some lots back there, we can maybe look at getting it developed. But again, it's kind of like just having a place to kind of start with. And just to speak again about the 30%, my original offer, I believe it was over the 30% is based on the prior year's valuation, and I was unable to locate or figure out what the new appraisal was. And again, it's kind of it's basically an arbitrary thing. I mean, how valuations work and whatnot. So yeah. Anyway, that's all I can really say about that. This one, I'd like to kind of find some of the other landowners in there and see about potentially developing some of those lots. But again, that's going to be much more of a team effort, I think, if you're going to be laying down utilities and road development and things like this. But again, this one's just more kind of a place to start along in that area.
It says this one is on 10th Street, but it has no,
South or north?
huh?
Is it north 10th or south 10th?
I don't know. North or South 10th Street? Mr. Mayfield?
I believe it's north.
So there's no street in front of this property either? Is that what you're saying?
No, 10th Street kind of dead ends. Where
Dead
these
ends
lots
and
are, they
brush.
kind of dead ends. I guess Maddox is sort of where things start to dead end. And then there's, the roads that are kind of listed there are really overgrown. And there's there may be some dirt roads, but nothing that you can't really get a car back there. You might be able to get something with a 4x4, but even then it's or 4-wheel drive back there, but I doubt it. A lot of that stuff's overgrown. They're not really reachable. And I only want to add on the other side, that Aransas County values these properties more in the $400 to $500 range, these particular lots. So there's some disagreement between the two counties as far as the valuation is concerned. But yeah, so there's multiple lots back there, but I mean there's probably 60 lots or so, just off the top of my head looking, that are currently not really reachable, that potentially could be developed. The roads could be used and utilities laid and all that other stuff. I'm not sure if it's part of a floodplain or anything along those lines, but that'd be a question for somebody, the city engineering to address. But yeah.
Any other questions?
Now, one of the requirements that we like as far as a council is when we go ahead and sell these properties, we like the owners to clean the properties and maintain them. If you say this is not one that's going to be, that is kind of in the middle of nowhere, how are you going to be able to clean that lot?
Yeah, I can't, I don't have an answer for you on that one. I guess it depends on, I don't know what the current status of it even is. I mean, I think there's, like I said, there's probably 60, maybe even more, maybe upwards of 100 lots that are, I guess, called lots, but they're unreachable. So it's just really more just like it's just basically acreage, that's, there's a better term for it, but it's just, but basically there's raw acreage that you can't really reach. So I don't know what the current standards are that the city has as far as upkeep for the other 60 to 80 lots that are there. So I'm not sure how they're currently kept, or just leaving it as a, wild, so to speak, is how they're all, the other 60 to 80 lots are just kind of left there. So I'm not sure what the standard is for upkeep with them. But again, I think the eventual solution for this would be to pool a lot of these lot owners together and see about trying to develop those lots, again, with laying utilities, getting roads, and and all the stuff necessary to actually develop it. Because right now there's no way to get anything back there. You'd have to either go across roads that are overgrown right now that the city has the easement over, or you'd have to trespass over another 20 or so lots to get to this particular one. But again, the goal in this one is you kind of have to start somewhere, which is where I was thinking, potentially reaching out to some other people to see about developing it more down the road. That there's not much I can say. I'll be honest with you, I don't think there's any way that I can upkeep this property without working with either the city to get road access, or with working with some of these other owners to come up with something. And they've been basically sitting as it is for the last, I would imagine, few decades, or probably since Ferdinand Danforth did the original survey. I don't think anybody's really developed anything back there. So, but again, I think there may be some possibilities down the road. This lot is much harder to reach than the other one.
Okay.
What's the favor of the council?
Can I, there's a
Yes.
comment that was posted online.
Okay.
I'll read that. It's a comment from Melinda Williams. Her comment is contingent upon maintaining lots, single-family dwelling, owning no mobile homes or RVs. The property needs cleaned up, place a 90-day maximum to produce 100% results.
Repeat the last sentence.
If property needs cleaned up, place a 90-day maximum to produce 100% result.
Sure. Does that mean, when you say clean, does that mean like if there's trash on the property or something, or does this mean you have to cut down growth like trees or grass or?
All of the above.
That's gonna be a tough one, getting
Yeah,
out there in the
it's
middle
out
of
in
the
the middle of
brush.
nowhere.
Yeah, I know.
Because
Yeah.
then you're gonna open a can of worms with everybody else that has property out there.
Exactly. That's,
Good land. We get development.
yes, Ms. Salinas.
Carol Salinas, I live in Aransas Pass. And about 7 or 8 years ago, I researched this particular question with the county. I actually went to the county appraisal district and other county offices. They said at that time that if a property had never been improved, that it could stay in its natural state. If it had ever been improved, mowed, brush cleared, or such as that, then it would be need to be maintained. So that might be something you might want to consider. Thank you.
Thanks for that. I did not know that. I was not aware of that.
And it makes sense. I mean,
Yeah.
you can't expect him to clean up something in the middle of.
Just kind of drop in the middle there and clean that one and leave.
However, if it's a lot in the middle of several other lots, we need to research this a little bit more. We have a lot of developers looking for acreage, and perhaps we could work with the owners of those other lots to get several homes built on this. I just think at $450, I'm not thrilled with that, knowing what the development of Aransas, where the development of Aransas Pass is. But it's up to the council.
I will say only again, just to, the appraisal of San Patricio is, 3 to 4 times higher than what Aransas County has appraised those exact lots in that area. So again, there's a discrepancy between what the lots are really valued between the two different counties. So in that sense, the offer of $400 or $450 is 100% of what Aransas County would have valued it, and it's again that's right along that county line. So I understand it's somewhat of a subjective decision, but anyway, take that into account, if you'd like to. But I understand the decision based on that. Sure.
What's the favor of the council?
I move to approve the sale of the tax property suite number S-13-1038-TX, Lot 9, Block 236, Town of Aransas Pass, San Patricio County, Texas, located on 10th Street. A bid offer was submitted by Nathaniel Mayfield in the amount of $450, which is 30.61% of the current value.
No second, then it does not pass.
It dies for lack of
Dies
discussion.
for lack.
The item fails.
All right, that one
Okay.
failed, Mr. Mayfield.
That one failed, Mr. Mayfield. And I believe those were your two items.
Yes, I'm sorry, I didn't understand. Did the first? I'm sorry. What happened with the first property?
Yes, that one passed.
The first item passed, the second one failed.
Got it. Okay.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
Alrighty. All right.
Bye-bye.
Have a great night, guys. Thank you. All right. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Now we consider an act on resolution approving offer to purchase tax sale property suit number S-05-1093-TX, lots 25 and 26, original town site, City of Aransas Pass, San Patricio County, Texas, located on Rife Street. A bid offer was submitted by Next Lots Properties, LLC, in the amount of $6,150, which is 32.54% of the current value.
Mr. Mayor and Council, I believe there is a representative of Next Lots here, but want to point out the next, all of the remaining items dealing with tax resale are items that Next Lot is putting a proposal in on. And is there someone from Next Lot? Oh, there, okay. So there is, and if you have any questions, I'm sure they can answer questions such as the use and the percentage, although the percentage is listed there. And any other questions you might have. Of course, we have to take them one by one. But on this particular one, on 7.3, any questions you might have?
Is there a representative from Next Lot here?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Can you step up to the?
Step up to the podium, please. What is the use of this property? Not just, because Next Lot is famous for just buying the lots and then keeping them and then putting a higher price tag on them, and they're just for investment, they're not for development. We're looking for people to come in truthfully and buy the lots and develop them. We need homes in Aransas Pass. So can you tell me what the purpose, why you want to buy this lot at this amount of money when $17,959.63 is due to all entities, and the city would only receive $1,135.12 of this?
Okay. My name is Lee Schmidt. I own Next Lots Now, LLC. I live at 844 East Beltline Road in Lancaster, Texas. I don't know that we're famous for buying lots and holding them. What do you mean, that we buy a lot of properties and hold them?
You don't develop them. We sell them at a discounted rate to you, but
Right.
we're not seeing development on those lots. They put up for sale signs, and you wait for somebody else to buy them at a higher rate.
Correct.
To go ahead and develop them. And so they're sitting on the tax rolls at without development on them.
You mean without being built on?
Without being built on.
Right. You can't build on them for 2.5 years. They're tax lots.
Okay.
Now, some lots you can build on if they've never been homesteaded in 6 months. But that's why I'm up here and you don't have a builder up here, because builders won't touch them.
I was unaware of that.
I was too.
It's a redemption period. Most of my lots are sold to local investors, people in the Aransas Pass. I bought, sold 1,000 lots from City of Alice to Beeville over the last 10 years.
So this again would be just an investment lot that you would turn around and
Right.
sell?
See, I don't own a real estate business, I own a note business. So what I do is I buy lots at a certain price, and then I resell them on a note, 8.95% interest.
Holding the mortgage on that property,
Correct.
basically. Okay.
Who buys those is local Aransas Pass people. Some buy them because it's the lot next to their house. Some buy them because they want to make an investment. Some people buy them because it's the lot next to their family house.
But why should the city lose out on all the tax dollars that are due us?
Well, I mean, you can, that's why you have a bidding system. If other people can pay you more money, they would be up here.
A lot of people don't know how to go about and do that.
I don't know. I think it's pretty, I mean, it's a public hearing. So, you're not seeing the lots bought by other people because you have to have them bought by an investor. There's this idea that we buy lots and then just park them. I'm not in the business of buying and parking lots. But I used to buy lots here and sell them for $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, $8,000. Now, I'm selling them for $25,000.
Right.
So in the last 10 years, literally, from the City of Alice to the City of Beeville, I bought 1,000 lots. I bought all kinds of lots. It cost me about $1.5 million to buy those lots. Those lots now are worth worth $5 million.
Right.
You know how many of that 1,000 I have left? 10. So my lots are going to investors, and those investors are building wealth. And those investors that have built wealth, those people are building houses. But you can't build these lots for 2.5 years anyway. You can't get title on them. I get a quitclaim deed. I don't get a warranty deed.
Now, as far as the maintaining of the properties, do you have to wait to clean the properties?
Yeah, I've never had a citation in the City of Aransas Pass. I buy lots in 40 counties in the state of Texas. I've had 2 citations.
Okay, is there a time limit as far as if you buy it, for instance, we approve this,
Right.
and all the paperwork is done, is there a time frame that you have to wait before you clean
No.
the properties?
Oh, I'm sorry to interrupt you. I apologize. That's right.
And the reason why I'm saying is because I drive around town.
Right.
I drove with our code enforcement and saw
Cody.
quite a bit of properties that had the sign of, selling for
Red and
you
white sign.
that were not, haven't been mowed since they sold. So that's just do you have a time frame, like for instance, do you have to wait like 6 months, a year?
Well, let me go back to this real
Okay.
quick. I know Cody. I happen to be I have roots in this area, so I've known him for a while.
Okay,
He calls me personally. He has my direct cell line. And we
Okay.
have crews everywhere that mow lots.
okay.
So if you see a lot that isn't mowed on my property, Cody's already called me. And if he's probably not here tonight, but if he was here, he would tell you that he doesn't have any problem with my lots.
Okay.
Now, a lot of these lots are coming out of demolition. They're coming out of years of misuse. So we try to do what we can, but we're not turning them into putting greens. I mean, we mow them.
No, I understand, but no, I've come across here in the last week that I've seen overgrown properties that have your sign that have never been mowed.
That's just not the case. I mean,
It
I
is
would-
the case.
It's not the case.
No, that's why I'm asking, do you have a time frame
We
that you have
full-time
to wait?
crews. As soon as we get approval, we start on the lot.
Okay, approval from,
This type of approval. We'll send our crews in before we get our deeds.
okay, well, I will give the list to Cody and and there is properties
He will call.
that have not been mowed. No, I can tell you
I'm not being
that.
disagreeable.
No,
I know it
I can
sounds
tell
like
you that because that's one of the things
Yeah.
that I have been pointed out to him,
Right.
it's, they have it for sale and it's overgrown and a lot of them are next to other properties. And to me, that's, if you have a home, and you have a property next to you that has not been mowed, that is what we're trying to do as a city, is trying to get the property owners to take ownership and clean the properties. And I have pointed out properties that have your signs that have not been mowed.
Let me ask you a question.
Okay?
You would say that Cody's about as good as you get as far as code compliance goes, right? Corey. It's about as good as you get as far as code compliance goes, correct?
I mean, yes.
Really
I mean, there's always room for approval.
We need
He's
three
only
more
one
of them.
person, though.
Yeah, we do need more of them.
And that's why I'm asking if you have a certain time frame, but you say we approve it tonight, you're gonna mow it
Yeah,
within a
but
week.
right away.
That, just a,
Well,
I know,
exactly.
yeah.
But I can't let that go. I spend tens of thousands of dollars a year on mowing. I have full-time crews. My crews come down and they mow and clear the lots as much as possible.
Okay.
So you might have something like over on Greenwood, that's a rough lot because there's a lot of small mesquite trees and stuff there. But my lots like on 9th Street and those places, those lots are mowed on a regular basis. And if they're not, I
Okay.
get a citation. I've never had a citation in the city of Aransas Pass. not a single time.
Okay, if I'll get the information.
I got the information. Two things, though, just to consider. We have staff that wants to move here, build a house, and buy a lot.
Exactly.
$450, sold staff, I'm telling you right now.
And-
Or find a way maybe to give it to staff that wants to buy a lot.
I
and
talked
build
with
and live.
Melinda today, and I talked with a couple of developers today about the issue that was brought up at the meeting on Friday. And there is a way to build houses for police, fire, teachers, nurses, for that kind of living.
And you guys have the lots to give away.
No, we don't have it's a county, you
No,
have to
I
go through the
understand.
county, we don't have
But
lots.
This is my point tonight.
For these prices, you guys are giving lots away.
We're giving lots away, that's exactly
Second
right.
thing, Corey said that he's been responsive about 40% of the time on lots. He's got a lot of lots that have been put on your list that he's already informed you of that you have not tended to.
I talked to him today, he didn't tell me that.
He's telling me right now.
He didn't tell me that today.
Okay.
And there's nothing, I haven't gotten a single call or a single email from Corey. And let me ask you a question. When you're saying that this other guy is you're giving this lot away to him, that's a landlocked lot, correct?
I can't speak to that lot.
Yeah,
I'm
it's a
just
landlocked
saying
lot.
It's a lot for.
Because,
Talking about your lots.
right, but I'll bring this up. I've tried to buy a lot of those lots, and you can't use them because you have to build concrete roads to them now. And the city of Aransas passed, when you're talking about these kinds of lots, the cost to build a concrete road to get to those lots is about $50,000 a lot.
Right.
Okay, your margin price for lots in Aransas Pass right now is $25,000. So you either have to relax your city codes to allow asphalt streets again with bar ditches, or you're never gonna get those lots developed. Or not for years until lot prices go up to about 50 or 60,000, which might happen.
Is that the case on this Rife Street lot that we're talking about?
No, those are all developed lots.
Okay. Yes, please.
Stephanie Diaz, I don't live in Aransas Pass, but I totally want to. And so, just like Chief said, if you guys are gonna sell these lots for that cheap, definitely consider giving them to, not giving, but selling them to city staff who actually want to move here, who actually want to buy here, who actually want to build here, and can't afford it because we work here. If that makes sense.
Absolutely.
So, that's all I got.
That's absolutely correct.
The whole thing is, I understand that there is a process. We don't own the properties. You have to go, just like he's going and
you have to
making the
bid
bidding
on it.
process. We don't just give them to you, or, you've got to go through the same bidding process as he is going through. So, I mean, we could,
But if we could get the word out to people like city staff, and maybe just.
well, we don't, you have to go to the county and get on that list and get the properties. We can't give you that information because it's handled through the county.
How do you get on that list?
Well, I've tried.
We're trying to, we're getting off of the subject here.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Trying to follow this. If it was possible for staff to buy a lot for $450 that's out in the boondocks with no road to get to it, no easement across other people's property to get to it, then that's exactly what it's worth, $450.
That's exactly
Airdrop a
right.
cow on it.
Yeah.
That's about all you can do. You can't build a house in that.
That we
Right,
agree
but
with.
we're not talking about that
This
one
one is right
anymore.
on Rife Street.
Yeah, right.
This one has road
We-
access.
We got what you.
Yeah, I agree with you.
And I'm not trying to belabor the point on maintenance, because we have crews, we don't want to spend a ton of money on maintenance, obviously. But I haven't heard from Corey that he's only happy with 40% of our lots. I don't have an email from that, and a phone call, and I talked to him 4 hours ago.
Okay.
So if you have a specific complaint on a specific lot that we own, my crews will come down here and take care of it immediately, all right?
Do you know, can you give us a number on how many lots you own in Aransas Pass?
I think over the last, so I do it by segments, by coast segments. So I had my staff count the number of lots I bought from Alice to Beeville. It's right at 986 lots. Out of the 986, this is over the last 10 years. So out of the 986, I think I bought, this is a little bit of a guess right now, but I think it's 120. So that's in the city of Aransas Pass. It doesn't include Rockport, Sinton, Taft, Corpus, the rest of it. So I buy lots in 40 Texas counties and 5 states.
But I've been.
So
saying-
out of those 120 lots, how many have you
110.
resold?
110. Now, I also had them figure up another number. That 110 lots, we sold for an average of $18,000 a lot. let's see, yeah, well, no, was that Corvus? $18,000 a lot in Aransas Pass. Those lots are now worth an average of $40,000 apiece.
But if I recall, you bought those on some of those, because I've been on the council longer than most of these guys. Some of those lots you bought for $100.
No, never for 100.
Yes.
Mm-mm.
Yes.
Not a usable lot.
Yes.
No.
Because
The
that
lowest
was that was my concern when I was sitting on the council. One of my concerns is, why are we selling it so cheap? And they said, well, we've got to get it on the tax roll. That was the feeling of the rest of the council members. I was never in favor of selling it that, I mean, the bid that low for $35, $40, $100.
The lowest I've done in Aransas Pass is $1,100.
Is what?
$1,100. But I sold those lots for $4,900. And so the people that bought those lots from me for $4,900, they made $36,000. Now you tell me someone else that's making your people in the Aransas Pass $36,000. You know what the median income is in Aransas Pass? $25,000.
You know, that's beside the point. But what
It's
I'm
not
saying,
beside the point.
What I'm saying, I'm just saying now is
Right.
that
I made money, correct.
no, yes, and you're selling it for 14,000. You know, and I know you're
It's a
not.
gross number.
You're not buying. You weren't buying those in the past for $1,100. The city was not. I can tell you that you were not at that particular time, because it was very. Yeah.
But nobody else was
$100.
bidding, correct?
I don't know that. I don't.
But
know.
I was the high bidder.
You probably were the only bidder, the high bidder. But to me, it was still.
When nobody else would buy lots, I bought them. And I made money on them.
Well, I know
And my
you did.
people that bought from me made a lot of money.
You know, I'm just. We're not getting anywhere just going back and
Right.
forth on this. So.
I'm not being impertinent.
No,
What I'm
no,
saying
no.
is that you're missing the core value of the business. My business isn't in building houses on lots that can't be built on. My business isn't in holding lots. I
Correct.
buy lots to create notes. And I make packages of notes, $250,000 to $500,000, and I sell those notes to private investors.
Mhm.
They pay cash, I come back then and I buy more lots. So if I don't sell my lots, I can't continue my business. And I don't gouge anybody. I sell at market prices. All my lots right now are at market price. And I charge 8.9% interest rate. That's lower than my commercial lines of credit. 8.9%, 5% is historically a very reasonable interest rate. So what you're missing is that you have someone that's coming into Aransas Pass, making your people tens of thousands of dollars, taking it out, putting it somewhere else, reinvesting back down here. And I sell almost exclusively to local Aransas Pass residents. A few people from San Antonio and Dallas are going to move here, but that's the value of the business.
I will say that we have sold some lots in the last year and a half, cheaper, but they had to make the commitment that there would be a house built on it within the year. They
You
had
can't make
to-
that commitment.
And I can tell you, they have come through, and there are new homes on those properties that we have sold at a reduced rate to them, and that's what we were looking for, somebody to come in. Okay, so we're gonna sell you that lot a lot cheaper, but they will make the commitment that they are building on that property to put that property on the tax rolls at a much higher rate. And
You
that's what
can't
we've
enforce
asked
that.
people. No, but they've.
They can't get title
The developers
policies.
have been more than willing to do that if they get a piece of property for a cheaper rate.
If they're getting a piece of property and building a house on it in under 2.5 years, that property's been in the possession of the city for more than 2 years.
Well, I
Because
don't
you can't
know.
get a title policy for it. You
I
can't
have
get
no
interim
clue.
or permanent financing.
I know that they come and, you know, they have made the commitment, and here, they've already talked to Burl about what their house plans are.
They've already built a house,
No, they haven't, well, some of them are being built right now, yes, sir.
under construction.
Yes, sir, some of them are completed.
A tax lot in
amount-
under 2 years.
I believe they're under 2 years.
Can I get an address of that?
Your son's house, for instance, the one that he bought. We sold the property at a reduced rate, and the developer built it, and your son bought it, and I don't know if it was 2 years or not, but those are the kind of.
No idea how long that house sat there
Yeah.
before. It was built a year before he bought it. But it was built a year before he bought it.
Yeah.
So I
Yes.
don't know how long.
And it was a tax lot.
Yeah, it was a tax lot that he bought.
He outbid me.
My son did not buy the property. It was built by a
By
contractor,
the
and he bought
contractor,
it from a
right.
contractor.
He bought it from the contractor.
What's
exactly.
the address?
I have
That
no
doesn't-
idea.
That has nothing to do with it.
Yeah, because what I'm saying is, you can't legally do that.
Well,
Well, that was
we're not
from the
into that legal
contractor.
side of it, that's the contractor then.
Your
So,
your
yes,
lawyer will
sir.
tell you
I
that.
live at 162 South 11th Street.
When I moved here 3 years ago, 2 lots next to me were overgrown and a house needed to be destroyed. The city took those properties, destroyed it, and now there is a brand-new house right next to mine.
And I don't know, I mean, that's an anecdotal story, and I'm not sure that it was a tax lot. It's just somebody's house.
I'm sure it was a tax lot.
You're sure it was a tax lot?
Yeah.
Okay, well, we're getting no place on this one,
Yeah.
so let's keep moving forward.
So, what,
There's a couple of comments.
okay,
If I could read them.
please do.
Yes, please.
Okay, there's
A bunch of these.
Melinda Williams. I believe the city needs to put those on the market. We need housing 150,000 below. Another comment by Melinda Williams, if you're going to continue to discount, give away land, it needs to be purchased and donated back to the city with contingency, with a developer. And then there's another one, Jazzy Mom. The city residents need to learn how the bidding works. We need workshops so equal opportunity can be had. This man is wise to how to make money, the American dream. He has been doing this for years. Why stop letting him do this now?
I think we can comment as well. So, my name's Raul Salvador, 190 East Johnson. It sounds like he's bottom feeder, that he's a speculator, and that's okay. That's a business model.
How about a bottom
Why is the
feeder?
city council funding that, enabling that? That's my dilemma right here as I ask, right? I listen to you, sir, and this gentleman over there in the comments. Doesn't make logical sense. There should be an auction. There should be a lot more knowledge of these things for a new staff coming in. But all the lots, yeah, we live at 190 East Johnson. There's a whole area there where people go four-wheeling, and we can't coordinate that property because it's owned by 200 people are gone, right? So it's like a catch-22. However, if he wants to buy this property, hold it for 2.5 years, get a pretty good interest rate of 8.9%, then all power to him. Why are we giving it to him though, right? Because he's the only one, because he's the only one that knows to this latest point online. Doesn't seem right.
I agree.
Well, what's the favor of the council?
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
One thing I gotta say is he's met the 30% that everyone's wanted, and some. And I understand nobody wants to see lots sit, and I don't either, but right now these lots are sitting as it is, and he's the only person that's bid on this thing.
I have a question. I have actually property on South Water Street, and are all these, has this bid process been closer by San Patricia? Because I'll go bid tomorrow.
Yes.
I'm a developer, this is what I do for a living. So look me on.
Everybody right there will know.
Would you please come shed some light on this for us, please?
Exactly.
Stephen Saucedo with Linebarger Attorneys at Law. These are tax sale properties. These are properties that were set for tax sale. Nobody purchased them at that point. They were struck off, and what that means is the county now owes them as trustee for everybody who's involved in the original tax suit. So the county is the trustee for the property. At that time, anybody can come in and give a bid for the property. If that bid is less than it would have gone for on the courthouse steps, that's when it requires your authorization as well as the authorization of the county and the city. So at any point, any one of you three pull your authorization, then we go back to start. Now, there might have been a specific question that you had other than that. Go ahead.
I think the question was, he was stating that it takes 2 years to develop the property.
So these properties are subject to the right of redemption, and the right of redemption could vary on the property. It could be as long as 2 years, and the maximum right of redemption. So the 2 years could be possible if it was a homestead type property. Could be short as 6 months. I think you mentioned some other things about title, but that's something that's industry standard for the area. I'm not familiar with that, but as far as redemption period goes, people who buy these properties have to respect the possibility that the prior owners could try to redeem the property. And if they build on it to improve it, that's something that wouldn't be covered by the redemption. They would only be able to get back maintenance costs, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. That does make sense.
Is any further?
I really think that we do need to have a workshop and invite the public to figure out how to do this. I thought that was a great idea, whoever suggested it.
Well,
Well,
I know one of the things that we've talked about, and that the only requirement we had is above the 30%, right, is what our requirement that we had stated.
You approved just recently some additional stipulation.
Correct.
Mhm.
And so it used to be just a 30%. Now you are asking to know how it's gonna be used. And what was the other, Mary, what was the other
Maintenance.
requirement?
Maintenance.
Maintenance
Maintenance
also.
of the property.
So, no, not just 30%,
Thir-
those items
maintenance.
have been added officially through a resolution, I believe, it was approved. Keep in mind, we have 5 items, and this is just one.
right. Yeah.
All are next one.
Uh-huh.
All the remaining ones.
Well, what's the favor on this particular one in the amount of $6,150? Sounds like it dies to me. No one's making a motion.
I just feel like we as a council maybe need to remove these and just have more discussions over these, just, and not necessarily opening seminars and all that, because that's something they have to go to the county and take care of that. But just for us to, if we have someone that is buying the properties, and just reselling those, that's the American way. But for us to be able to get more as far as air out our ideas more, I don't want to refuse next lots from buying these properties, but just to have a little more discussion as a council on these.
He does have a couple of
Yes.
lots in here. One's at 79%.
Right.
And one's at 57%, so.
But it's-
So the first one,
Do y'all want to table the first one, or?
I'd like to table all the ones from next lot, because we're going to be coming across the same discussion until our next city council meeting,
I think that's a good idea, to just table
which
them
is
until we
July,
have that.
the first, what is it, the first week in July that we have our next meeting?
Mary, I think we're beginning to back up on these. Am I correct on that? Because how many are we?
we've tabled and tabled and tabled.
I'll be honest, I don't know the top.
Mary, you.
I believe we have another 7 that we're waiting to bring.
So we'll do.
To bring.
For next lots?
No, I
Yeah,
don't know
yeah.
what the other ones are.
So
We're waiting on more.
what we will do then, per what I'm hearing you say, is one way or the other, we want to get, now this has been a public process the entire time. We go through a complex
Right.
public process. But I'm hearing you say more information needs to be provided at the very least to the council, which is a public meeting. So for further explanation on not only these items, but just the process in itself. So we are up to, what, 12 different properties right now that we're backed up on bringing to you. But before, I'm hearing you say, before we begin addressing those, let's get more information to you, because I'm hearing you also say you want to table what's on the agenda tonight. Now, if I'm wrong, please tell me. Table what's on the agenda tonight. We would need to quickly get you, for the lack of a better term, a phrase, a training session on some of the issues we have to deal with. And Stephen, would that be something that we could bring you in on? Okay, so that would be that'd be very helpful, actually, if we could do that. And Mary, we would need to do that as soon as possible.
Okay.
So if that's what I'm hearing, tell me if I'm wrong.
I think that's exactly what I would like.
Okay.
So y'all don't want to sell him the one at 80%? I mean, I don't.
I'll just take one while.
Let's
There
table
you go.
them, and that way he's still in the loop.
So then the items are being pulled at the applicant's request? Okay.
Okay, so that takes us to consider an act on.
Do we have to make a
Oh.
motion on it?
No, because they're being pulled at the applicant's request.
Oh, okay.
Consider an act on rescheduling the July 5th, 2021 City Council meeting to Tuesday, July 6th, 2021 due to a city holiday.
We've also allowed 2 hours to discuss this.
Starting now.
I'm not quite sure I want this.
It's self-explanatory.
I make a motion that we reschedule the July 5th meeting for City Council to Tuesday, July 6th, due to the city holiday.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Monthly municipal court report, we have that. Oh, Henry's here?
Yes.
Okay.
And you may have noticed we're now back to in-person presentations, which are always better.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem and council members. This is our activity report that I believe you have a copy of it. Cases filed for the month of May, 145. There were 73 convictions. Magistrate at 46. Capious pro fines, we issued 11. Class C warrants issued, 83. Signed CID warrants, that's for the investigators, 12. We had approximately about 41 walk-ins. We issued 2 emergency protective orders. Magistrated after hours and weekends, about 18 cases. We're still continuing in taking payments online and by phone. We're still corresponding by email, phone, and faxes. The court clerks are still continuing calling the defendants to see if they want to settle their cases before coming to court. We're also offering teleconferences and video conferences, which have been very successful, where the individuals don't need to come in, and we're just, going to what the Supreme Court is allowing us to do. We're holding free trials by virtual. Roxanne is meeting by virtual on pre-trials, by telephone, I should say. And we're still practicing the social distancing and face covering as required by the Supreme Court, even though the governor's orders are different. That is not applying to the judicial side. We're still holding court every Wednesday, the walk-in docket, show cause hearings. Juvenile court is also every Wednesday. And again, we're holding teleconferences almost daily. Do you have any questions?
No. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your report.
Thank you.
Now we go to the monthly community enrichment. By the lovely Miss Celia.
Hi, good evening. How's everybody doing?
Try not to fall asleep. Keep us awake.
Listen. Okay, for the month, I'm going to have to kind of come back here a second. For the month of May, at the Civic Center, we hosted 4 private events, 5 church services, 9 training classes, 1 graduation, it was kindergarten, and 1 public event. We do have our new chairs that will be coming in around the middle of July. They've taken a lot longer than we anticipated. We ordered them, I think, back at the end, at the beginning of February, but they're held up in a shipping container. I mean, I've heard every...
From China.
Yeah, basically that. So that's where we are on that. Aquatic update. We've had more than 5 record-breaking days since we opened. Those are over $4,000 days, so that's really, really great. We opened full-time Memorial Day weekend. We will be trying out Thursday evenings in July. We just haven't gotten to that yet, but we start Aransas Pass for Youth tomorrow, so we're just kind of slowly adding a little bit more as long as our staff can handle it. And then there's everything for the summer as of right now, but you can find all that on our website. And lastly, the library update, which is the last slide, Gary, Thank you. Is libraries open 8:30 to 5. However, we still offer curbside services for anyone that prefers it, and people still are doing that. Actually, computers are available. We also provide print service as well as assist patrons. Online catalogs, overdrive accounts available for all patrons. If you don't have one, you should go get one. In May of 2021, the total checkouts were 915. Internet and Wi-Fi usage 320. People don't have to come into the library to do that. We have new Wi-Fi that extends out into the parking lot and even to the park a little bit. Library visits 1,100. Overdrive checkouts is 159, and we're preparing for summer reading program. Summer reading in the park. What we're going to do is read to the kids, start to gather in groups. We are an accredited library, so we still are following guidelines. Just because the governor released some guidelines, we're still following, the Texas State Library Board guidelines. So we are going to be doing reading in the park, which is going to be right across the street. So do y'all have any questions? No. Did I go too fast? No. Thank you very much. I've got a curbside order, and it's got frozen items. Thank y'all, and y'all have a good. Just to let you know, well, I had an update, but I will say that, and I will email the mayor.
Okay.
No big deal. It was about MDD.
Okay.
I wanted to make sure.
All right, now we go to development services. Development services includes the following: building services, parks, planning, public works, and maintenance. Consider an act on an interlocal agreement with the city of Ingleside for customer water service connection to the property located at 3792 Farm Road 1069.
Good evening, council. So this is to consider an act on interlocal agreement with the city of Ingleside for customer service connection. The purpose is to allow the city of Ingleside to provide water service to a customer located within the ETJ of the city of Aransas Pass. This was kind of thrown at me, so I don't have a lot of background, so I'll just read what we have here on paper. Background findings: the city of Aransas Pass received a request from an individual, Nestor Cortez, to have permission to tie into and receive from the city of Ingleside. His property is located at 3792 FM 1069. Though the property is located within our ETJ, the city does not currently have water service to the area. The closest city water to him is currently 4,200 feet away. The city of Ingleside already has water service into that area. So this would be just an interlocal agreement, and the gentleman Nestor is here if y'all have any questions for him.
I think we do this quite with some of the cities from Ingleside and from Rockport, right in this area.
That is correct. Yeah.
Okay.
He needs water. I'll make a motion that we agree to an interlocal agreement with the city of Ingleside for customer service, water service, to the property located at 3792 FM 1069.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All righty. Got your water, Nestor.
Now you can take a shower.
Council, so this is, again, an interlocal agreement with the city of Ingleside, so this is kind of the opposite way around.
Reverse, yes.
The purpose is a request was submitted by property owner Scott and Marilyn Hall for water services from the city of Aransas Pass for property located at 1354 Bishop, Aransas Pass, Texas. Since the property is located within the ETJ of Ingleside, it is necessary to enter an interlocal agreement with the city of Ingleside to authorize Aransas Pass to provide water service. And as you can see, the Ingleside City Council have already approved this on May 25th.
So this is the same thing, just flipped around.
Opposite way, yes, ma'am.
I make a motion that we enter into an interlocal agreement with the city of Ingleside, authorizing the city of Aransas Pass to provide water to the property located at 1354 Bishop, Ingleside, Texas.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Alrighty, so this next one is to consider an act on awarding the request for proposals for the City Hall exterior improvements. Unfortunately, I am not very familiar with this project. However, this project is to improve the exterior of the City Hall, Fire Department, Police Department, and the Municipal Court. From my understanding, the company will come in, power wash, paint, do some minor repairs that are imminent of out of control. And the background findings, the City of Aransas Pass received 2 bids on June 17th for this project. Staff has reviewed all the bids and make a recommendation to award the bid to Pro Touch Contractors in the amount not to exceed $56,940.
Do we know what color we're painting City Hall?
That is
Pink.
a valid
It's Eric's office.
I know we don't know, and I know the recommendation that was made last time was
Coastal colors.
Coastal colors, thank you. And that has not been decided, and, you know, I don't know how to go about that, Mickey. It's probably a good idea for council to be aware of what those colors are.
Please do.
So before we move forward with it, I'm just thinking aloud here, before we move forward with it, maybe we have a work session on the 15th of July. It may be a good idea to bring some colors to the council.
Bring some ideas.
I'm sorry?
Bring some ideas.
And bring ideas, and then leave that, and we can't be having several meetings, we need to get moving on it. We need to
I
make a
think we're
decision
gonna
at that
table it.
meeting.
I think we'll table it.
So, why don't we plan on that, if the council's okay with that? and
Yes,
we'll get-
it's good.
Mickey will need to get with the contractor to make sure all that's okay.
Yes, sir.
But coming to the meeting on, work session on the 15th, and Mary, that would be an agenda item
Yes,
for
sir.
the 15th.
Okay.
Okay.
Red for the fire department, blue for the police, and white for City Hall. Red, white, and blue.
So we'll do that if everybody's okay with that.
Is there going to be, when you say minor repairs, I know that maybe the entrance?
That's where it's going to be.
Yes.
Oh, okay,
that-
all right,
yeah.
okay.
Included, I believe, is the bid documents on the breakdown of the cost on where the repairs would be.
Okay.
I don't know it right off the top of my head, but they are included in there, yes.
Okay.
It's rotten wood out.
Yes.
Right, I just wanted to make
Yeah.
sure, okay.
Yeah, it looks terrible.
Okay. Okay, well, I make a motion that we approve awarding the requests for the improvements to the City Hall and police and the court and the fire department to Pro Touch Contractors in the amount not to exceed $56,940.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Now we will, are you on that one too?
Yes.
Okay.
So the next one is to consider an act on proceeding with emergency short-term repairs to Euclid storm pump, to allow the city to proceed with emergency short-term repairs to the Euclid storm station. On July 15th, 2021, staff and engineers presented recommendations to council for emergency short-term repairs to the Euclid storm pump station, while planning continues for the long-term improvements. The repairs would include replacement of the diesel John Deere engine. Repairs will also include pulling pump and drive to the diesel pump for inspections to ensure there is nothing wrong with it. The repairs would also call for pulling the electrical 100 horsepower motor for inspection. Once the inspections are completed, recommendation for repairs, replacement if needed, will be submitted to the city for consideration. Project will also include the cleaning of the wet well and installation of a new trash catch basin further upstream of the pump station inside Euclid ditch itself. All repairs and improvements are not to exceed $219,000, which is budgeted and available.
I'll move to proceed with emergency short-term repairs to Euclid storm pump station.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Now we go to the monthly building report.
You're up, bro.
Well, I can't speak as fast as Sarah Lee, so bear with me.
You're fired.
I know. We've got, we did, yeah.
No, but I did see the reports and they are
I did see
fantastic.
The reports are great.
So you can't be fired. You're doing great.
I hope so. We did 100 permits this last month. We had 25 new builds, and from this time last year, I think we're like $15,000 or $16,000 ahead of same month from the previous month. So
That's good.
still growing.
Still growing.
And we've got Harbor Freight's getting there. I'm thinking, they're thinking it's gonna be probably another month. I'm thinking first week in July. So,
And all of these
First week in
reports,
July? Wow.
if not before, so we'll try. Any questions?
all of these are online for everyone to see, because it's very important that our residents see all of the, I clicked on the wrong thing.
The growth.
All of the growth. And
We
we're
are
growing and
growing.
above last year
Mhm.
at every angle. I was trying to get back to that. The permits are up. What else is it, Gary, if you go through? Our fees we collected more fees than this time last year. I can't read those now. I couldn't get mine to come up, but
Versus 20,000. So it was about 14,000 more than 2020 for May. So we are growing.
Yep.
And I won't step on Roxanne's toes, but we are getting some demolitions accomplished.
I was going to ask you, what about the Starbucks? A time on that?
I'm not sure when they're gonna be done. They are probably at the point right now where they can begin their tenant finish. They have two separate crews, or two separate sets of contractors. So one was the shell, which they're just about complete with. I look for if they haven't already started, I look for the tenant finish to start pretty soon.
Yeah, they were doing all the concrete
Yeah.
stuff on Sunday. They were laying it all out.
So,
all right. Thank you.
thank you.
How is Motel 6 coming along?
They're coming along. They haven't had any of their rough inspections yet, but the framing, they're getting the roof on. And so they're moving along pretty well, actually.
All right. Up next is the monthly Public Works Department report.
Me again. Okay, so y'all have all the information in front of y'all, so I will just touch on the kind of the key points, starting with the utility department. You'll notice with all the past rain events, there was a large spike in stop sewer calls, thanks to all the rain that we've needed/didn't. Also, we are working very well on the fire hydrant repairs and replacements. You've seen that last month we had only completed 4. That was in April. Month of May, we were able to complete 11. And then line maintenance, which is where they go from manhole to manhole. They'll jet the line, pull all the sand back. They'll vector it out at the same time so it doesn't continue down the line and cause further issues. So they were able to do 7,200 feet of that in the month of May. Again, on top of the rain events. Moving on to the street and drainage, you'll notice that the street patches for potholes increased, thanks again to the rain event. Storm sinkhole repairs as well went from 4 in the month of April to 8 in the month of May. And then due to the rain event as well, the street sweeping decreased from 12,300 linear feet in April down to only 20,000 feet in the month of May. But the rain kind of helped us out and wash everything away. Citywide projects are going. Quick update on a few of them, if I don't mention one here, if y'all have any questions on it, feel free to ask. I'll do my best. If not, I can get with Fernando. The digester rehabilitation out at the wastewater treatment plant has commenced starting today. We are starting to run truckloads to drain it out, so that way the wastewater treatment plant can start running more efficiently the way it should be running. The Motel 6, which was just mentioned, this is for the utility side of it. I'm not positive on my number, but I believe the sewer installation, we had a few slowdowns on it, but they're around 50%. The water line installation has not began, but we have acquired the TxDOT permit for the contractors to work along the TxDOT highway right-of-way. So that's moving forward as well. The Scada system project for all of the previously existing Scada systems for the wastewater lift stations has already started. They have already poured all the foundations at all of the lift stations that are being redone with Scada. Next, they are working on structuring the towers vertically. I did get an update today that they will not be in town working this week because they're working on ordering CPUs for the equipment. The Harbor Roads update is 99% complete. Fernando and Christian did a walk last week to do a punch list walkthrough, so we're just finalizing the small details, and that should be wrapping up here very soon. And then let's see, North McCampbell storm, of course that's the Stapp and McCampbell. It is moving forward. I believe Fernando is just waiting to get the contract documents back in hand, along with the Waring Lane sewer issue. One project that I'm thankful that has officially closed out is the Clarifier number 1 project, also out at the wastewater treatment plant. The company did come in and did an incredible job with a 4.5-day turnaround and rebuilt the North Clarifier at the wastewater treatment plant. It is running very, very smoothly now.
Good.
And I think that's it. Do y'all have any other questions?
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
I had like 3 texts early this morning.
Yes, ma'am.
Is the city of Aransas pass under a water boil? And I said, not to my knowledge. And these were people in different areas. Where would that all come from?
That I have no idea. I oversee the pressure system with the Scada, with the fresh water that we receive from San Patricio County, and we have not had any issues, no pump failures, no pressure drops, nothing. So that's beyond my knowledge.
Yeah, if I was worried, I would have called you.
Anything else?
No? Thanks a
Thank
lot.
you.
Now we go to the monthly financial report.
Good evening.
You heard that.
Let me just log in. Okay. All right, we're just going to go over the month of April right now. Overall, this memo just summarizes that our revenues exceeded our expenditures for the month. And then the following, that slide, yes, thank you. That slide is just a breakdown per fund that we are monitoring, which is our general fund, our debt service. You'll notice that there are a couple of funds that are not performing. The Aquatic Center, they just opened for the season, so therefore they don't have any revenues to report. The Civic Center has struggled somewhat after COVID to get back on its feet, but it has, like Sarah Lee reported, it has shown some events in the past month, so they are reporting income. The following slide will show you just a graph representation of our budgeted revenues versus the actual revenue. So the dots are what was actually happening in the budget. The budgeted is just the bar. So you see that most of our funds are exceeding what we had budgeted for the revenues. Then we're going to look at a representation of the same thing, but just the expenditures. The following slide. And unfortunately, some funds did exceed their expenditures for the month, but overall, like I said, we were in the black for the month of April. Now, the following graph is a representation just of our property tax collected as compared to the past 2 years. So we see that we've collected $5 million year to date. Last year, we had collected 4.6, and the year before that, 4.1. Then we'll look at the sales tax, which is a great indicator of how we're doing here with the economy. You'll see for this year we've collected $1.5 million. Last year the same time was 1.3, almost 1.4, and the year before that was 1.2 million. So we are keeping our sales tax. It's growing. And then the last one is just all the sales tax collected. We know that 1 penny goes to the city's general fund, the other half-cent goes to the crime control, and the other half-cent goes to MDD, and that's just accumulation of all the 2 cents that we would have received. Okay, any questions?
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you very much, Cindy.
You're doing good.
We go to the public safety. Consider an act on approving the police chief to enter into a memorandum of understanding with the Aransas County Airport for police training.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem and Council. This is just coming to you again, we want to use the Aransas County Airport for a specialized training event, which is exterior response to active shooter situations in July. They require us to have an MOU agreed upon before they'll let us use it for that purpose. Now, if you do recall in the past, we have entered into an MOU with them as well for our driver emergency vehicle operations training. This is just a different class, and they want an MOU for this purpose. If you have questions, I do have the training captain here to answer any questions you may
Do
have.
they charge us for that?
No, there's no charge for this.
Okay. Well, I make a motion that we approve the police chief to enter into a memorandum of understanding with the Aransas County Airport for police training.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Next, consider an act on approving the police chief to enter into a memorandum of understanding with the United States Coast Guard for joint maritime law enforcement activities.
So you explained the summary there, Mayor Pro Tem. The Coast Guard had approached us about entering into this MOU, and it's my understanding that we also have Texas Parks and Wildlife that will soon be joining us as well. We are extremely active when we get out on the water, and I think that our guys with their skill and experience on the water have proven to these larger entities that we can be a trusted and relied upon source. And like I talked during the budget presentation, anything we can do to expand that would be a benefit and blessing for the community and those people that recreate on our waters. I do have two of my top Marine folks here, the commander, Sergeant Travis Baker, and then his sidekick, Jack McCarty, if you have any particular questions.
So y'all were out on the water Memorial Day. How was the crowd?
As far as the crowd for Memorial Day, of course, any holiday we have here in the coastal areas increased. We had it was us, Coast Guard, and also game wardens out on the water. We made multiple stops. Mainly we were just out there for just kind of having that police presence, and also to just in case there was a rescue that came up. We really didn't have too many issues. But
Just a boat crash, right?
yeah, all we had was a boat crash between a shrimp boat and a recreational vessel.
Which was caught on video, and we did
Oh,
share that
really?
out.
You're
It was
kidding.
caught on our harbor cam, actually. It just happened to be pointed in that direction.
So it was right at the harbor?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh.
Yeah, right there at the boat ramps.
Oh, so the shrimp boat was parked?
No,
No?
he was on underway and he wasn't paying attention. His focus was elsewhere. Yes. Luckily, no one was injured in that. So, except for
Well,
a
thank
poor
you. I
hanging.
know that everyone is appreciating y'all's presence out there. It's greatly needed.
Yes,
Because we are at the crossroads of the ICW.
Yes.
And the shrimp boat channel and all of the traffic just seems to be accumulating and growing.
That is why too, that we also sit on the Maritime Security Awareness Board and everything too. We have representation on that. They need our input and our participation at the Coast Guard level because of those waterways and stuff like that.
Right. People question our, reasoning for having that boat, and I think it's very important that we have that and show our presence and just be a part of the community, because so much of our community is water-based.
Yes, ma'am.
It's very important.
So, and I always explain that as well. You know, we've got 12 square miles on land, which has probably grown from the annexations, but we've got over 40 square miles on water, and we are responsible for that. And we haven't had the access or ability to be on the water except for maybe the last 4 or 5 years now. So, and it does need to be expanded, and we've got some creative ideas and stuff that we're working on currently in that direction.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, now we move to.
I'll make a motion that we approve the police chief to enter into a memorandum of understanding with the United States Coast Guard for joint maritime law enforcement activities.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Monthly public safety report.
And again, thank you. And moving right along, a while back we put out information on a catalytic converter thief.
Yes.
Well, he got caught in the act, and the officers managed to nab one. The other got away, but since they're not very loyal amongst thieves, I think we were able to identify the other one as well. The investigation report is attached. I started attaching that one because, as you can see, they are quite busy, but I feel his report does better justice than me trying to summarize it. Animal control, we were preparing for shrimpery, but I got great news that won't wait till next month. I'll probably repeat it. We had 11 adoptions out at shrimpery, heaviest ever at an adoption event. Which, so 11 got adopted out, and I think we added 8 new ones into the shelter this last week, unfortunately. But that paved the way for that place. Training's been very heavy. We had a negotiations training course, which was some very advanced and good training that the training captain was able to bring to town. Of course, we had hired some dispatchers for the 2 new positions that we've had over the last 2 years. One of those is having to leave, unfortunately, and she's doing very good, Callie. So we do have an opening there, and like I introduced you this evening to the new TCO supervisor, telecommunications supervisor, and admin just working on budget, but you already got that presentation. And by the way, I do appreciate the support, outstanding, and I think that'll mean a lot to the guys as long as everything can go through. The rest of the report there is available online. It will publish in about 19 minutes for the whole world to see. And you can see our monthly department surveys and the reports in detail, along with a breakout of the calls for service and all of that to get a closer look, anybody that'd like to.
Okay.
Any questions?
No,
Thank
I sure
you.
appreciate everything you and your staff do.
I got a wonderful team, and I appreciate
Yes,
that.
you do.
Thank
You have a wonderful leader. They have a wonderful leader.
I think we were talking
Next
about Gary.
is Chief Kelly, Fire Department report.
I only have about an hour and a half worth of material, but I'll try to knock it down to just an hour. Let's see.
Or 3 minutes.
Yeah. Public Works did touch on hydrants earlier, and we did put a report in on our hydrants. I was just going to get to that right off the bat and let you know that we did have 27 work orders completed. That we've gone back, verified, assured that everything is correct, and they're doing a great job with getting that filled out. We still have several others that we're working on. We're keeping a good list, and I think y'all have that list now. In training, we did a total of 48 personal hours. What's not included on this is some of the training we did outside of the station. And some of that, we got some really interesting training. The EMS department brought by basically an ambulance that has what's the word, like an animatronic patient in it.
A dummy, a real dummy.
This is not a dummy.
A
This,
real dummy.
this thing is, so they did like childbirthing.
Wow.
They delivered, and they can care for the patient. The patient opens its eyes, closes its eyes. It has a pulse, the whole nine. They could put the patient in any type of heart rhythm. I mean, anything. It was crazy training that these guys got, and they got to do that. Some of the other training that they got to do, and that was with Houston Healthcare.
It's okay.
We also did a shipboard firefighting awareness training. That was with the Port of Corpus Christi. That's part of the ad hoc committee that I sit on. That was the product of it. So we got that out, and I think there was probably close to 80 people that were in that training, and we got to participate in that. And we're hoping for a lot more of that. We also did, and this is coming along, the Texas Forestry Service came and provided us some wildland urban interface training to where we can come out and start doing assessments throughout the city on how our wildland and how our homes and businesses are interacting and how to prevent wildlands from catching houses on fire. Most of the time you see this kind of stuff in like California, Colorado. That's your wildland urban interface where people are moving in. We have a lot of brush fires, as you guys know. We worked a good one the other day. The guys went out last night, worked one. So we're working with the Forestry Service for that. The good news is if we help do this for the Forestry Service, they give us points towards our grants. So we're really excited about that part. In incidents, wow, record-breaking month. 84 incidents. The guys have been busy. I think with this summer, and I've already been alluding to this, that I believe that brush fires are going to rise. Our medical calls always stay about the same, but the guys are running a lot of medical calls. Inspections, the guys did 8 inspections, and I don't believe that includes all the inspections we've been doing, like with the Harbor Master building and all that stuff. We've been over there several times and taken a look at that. Let's see, I had one other thing. I wanted to let you know, with all the budget stuff, that we are working on 6 grants so far this year. We have not been awarded anything, and that's from $5,000 to $1.5 million. I mean, if it's a grant out there, we're working on it. But we haven't been awarded anything. The thing that's probably been taking up most of our time, many of you know that we've got a brush truck that was donated to us by the Forestry Service. They donated the brush truck and then gave us a grant for the skid unit. That is about 98% completed. The truck is being built in-house. We're hoping to have a dedication ceremony for it pretty soon, and we chose another military unit to dedicate that to. That more information will be coming out.
Very good.
Any questions?
Yes, sir.
Keep up the good work.
All right, thank you.
Thanks.
All right, now we move to City Council or staff announcements.
July 14th, that's a budget preview meeting. I think I referred to a work session on the 15th. In reality, it's the 14th. I apologize. And a workshop meeting. We're going to combine both, the budget preview meeting and a workshop meeting. That's where we will plan to talk about the properties we were talking about earlier and procedures for properties at this particular meeting. And some other items that will undoubtedly come up.
All right, now it's time for citizen comments are intended for matters that are not scheduled on the agenda. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes and state your name, address for the record. Be advised that the Texas Open Meetings Act prohibits the City Council from responding and discussing your comments. The law authorizes the following: make a statement of factual information, recite existing policy, advise that this subject may be placed on the agenda for a subsequent meeting.
My name is Donald Brummett, ex-street superintendent, ex-director of public works, and citizen of Aransas Pass. I have a question. When that number of Euclid pump station went down, did anybody lose any time or get reprimanded for it?
Reprimanded?
Yes.
I'm not aware of any reprimand.
Okay, the reason I asked, I seem to be the only employee for the city of Aransas Pass that was suspended for 2 weeks because my city truck decided to go swimming without me.
Ooh.
And anyhow, I was suspended for 2 weeks because I got out of the truck to clean the sinks out at the shrimpery grounds, and the city manager and chief of police drove around there. She says, "Where's your truck?" I said, "It's right here." Pointed to the sinks. He says, "No, it's not." They told me, "Come look." And I looked that over, and all I could see was my 2 yellow lights in the pond. And I said it went swimming without me. And that reason I asked about the pump station, with that electric pump going and the diesel pump going at the same time, somebody has to be there to slow that diesel pump down. If they slow that diesel pump down to half, the electric pump and the diesel pump work together, and the wet well will not go dry. 12 hours overtime compared to 30 hours, compared to $30,000 for a new motor. They need to change their pump station stuff.
Anybody else? into executive section.
Do they have any comments on that?
Oh, any comments online?
No, there's
No?
none.
All right. Section 551.071 of the Texas Open Meetings Act, to meet with its attorney to seek legal advice on a matter in which the duty of the attorney to the city council under the Texas Disciplinary Rules of Professional Conduct of the State Bar of Texas clearly conflicts with the Texas Open Meetings Act relating to Con Brown Harbor Lease, GS Marine, Con Brown Harbor Lease, Captain Caddies, Gulf Marine Fabricators, and number 4, was removed. Okay.
And the time is?
And the time is 7:50. Well, y'all were long-winded. We better be.